beautiful souls, and welcome back to my channel. So today we are going to talk about dreams, how to interpret dreams, how to work through dreams. What are your dreams trying to tell you? How you can start to lucid dream, and maybe a little bit of astro projecting during your sleeping hours for those of you that are interested, as well as nightmares and why. Yes, they are very, very important. So without further ado, I'm not really going to fully introduce myself because I'm actually going through kind of like a healing thing right now, working with my advanced shaman courses as I release my old identity to step into my new. And so a part of that is no longer identifying to shaman, Reiki practitioner, and that kind of stuff. So that doesn't mean I'm not. It just means we're letting go of the identity behind it. It's actually really kind of freeing, and it's actually been telling me a lot of things. So without further ado, let's just get to healing, all right? Let's go. Let's go. Been with me for a while, then you know I've never really talked about dreams. I've always done healing sessions with clients that they want to go into their dreams, they want to talk about their dreams, and we will go into it and I will interpret their dreams for them. I've done dream interpretation sessions before. However, I've never really taught a course on dreams, and I've never really talked about it. Not because it's not something that I don't do, it's just because no real answer for you. So this is very special because it's a first time. Alright? Yay! Exciting. So I even have my pen and paper here, and we're going to go through interpreting a couple of my dreams. So I've been having recurring dreams for about the last month or so. And the reason why I'm going to take you into my dreams is so you can see the process behind how I do it and how we're going to get to what are my dreams trying to tell me, what's going on in my dreams, and maybe what I'm working through or healing at the same time. Alright, so there's a song on TikTok right now, or not right now, but it's been around for a while. It's like the pirate song, and I don't really know the words to it, but the sound keeps going through my head, and I know that it's the pirate song. But that was going through my head this morning, and when I was sitting there and I was thinking about what video I was going to make for you guys, my guides were like, why don't you do dreams and interpret one of your dreams? And I was like, ooh, fun site. All right, here we go. Also, I really and truly wanted to do this outside, but I'm in Arizona and it's hot now. And we had a cool day yesterday because we had a monsoon come through, but it heated up really fast. So yeah, we're back to having to put stuff on our window. Why is it not pointing directly? Over here. There we go. Having to put stuff on our windows and all that fun jazz. So, alright, so let's get into it. When you're interpreting your dreams, when you're first starting to get into it, I highly recommend having a pen and paper close by. So I used to sleep with my journal next to my bed. I don't so much do it anymore because my dreams stay with me now. The more and more you work on your lucid dreaming, the more you're going to just keep remembering it, and it's just going to be a habit where you're like, oh, I remember it. And then when you go into like a meditation to work through it, it's just going to come right to you. But before that, and even sometimes when I know like I'm going through something really big, I will bring my journal with me because I'm like, I don't think I'm going to remember if I dream about something. So let me bring my journal with me to bed. So when I first started, I would have a journal and I would just write down little things. So let's get into it. Let's talk about the pirate dream first. So I know that I'm dreaming about pirates. I know that one of them is wearing a red jacket. They're sailing on a ship, obviously. They're looking for gold. In one of my dreams, they found gold. There was kind of like a pirate fight, I guess, mutiny. pirate fight on board. There was a parrot, which we can actually open up my book for a parrot. So this is kind of what it's looking like, right? It's not anything fancy. I'm just writing down the things that stood out to me the most, the stuff that we need to work on, right? So then this isn't the only dream that I'm having. I'm also having dreams about a wedding, and there's nobody, like there's no specific person, but I'm a runaway bride, right? So I make it halfway down. So halfway down and then run. So I'm a runaway bride, but there's nobody at the end of the aisle. Let me put that. There's nobody there. Nobody there. So this is not telling me anything to do about soulmates, relationships. This is telling me that this is something to do personally with my own personal relationship. So already I'm seeing those kind of things starting to come into play the more I'm writing this down. So nobody's there. I've ran. Now the other dream that's tying into this is I have a twin. So I'm a twin, but we keep getting kidnapped. And I get away, but my twin does not. And in this one, we're wearing white dresses, which tells me purity, right? White is purity. White is, can also correlate with your crown chakra. So white is something of the lighter realm, whereas the red jacket is telling me I'm working in my crown chakra during those dreams. Now, why am I bringing these three dreams together? Because they keep happening. So I know now that these three dreams are actually tied together, because it started with the twin and the kidnapping, and then I had the dream about the wedding, and then I had the dream about the pirate, then went back to the kidnapping dream, and then I've had the one about the wedding again, and so on and so forth. So here I've written down a few things, right? Now for me, I could go into like a full-on meditation with my journal in front of me, but what I like to do is I will go in and meditate on it, and I will ask my guides to come forward and help me interpret this dream. And then I'm going to start looking at it. Now, if you've also had readings with me, this is kind of what your reading looks like. It's just a bunch of like words on a page, right? Some people have asked to see the notes I take during readings, and so I show them, and it's literally like just this. It doesn't make any sense to anybody, but it makes sense to me. That's all that matters. So if it doesn't make sense to anybody, but it makes sense to you, then that's all that matters, right? Okay, so here we have our dreams. So I'm gonna get into my psychic gifts here. I'm working in my third eye. So I'm feeling myself connecting to my third eye. I'm feeling myself more open. I'm allowing my gaze to kind of like zone out. So if you've ever had a reading with me, you know that I zone out sometimes, and I'm looking above your head if they're in-person readings. If it's like distant readings and it's on the phone, then I'm sometimes I'm still zoning out. You just don't see me zoning out, okay? So I allow myself to completely zone out and connect to my third eye. The other thing that I'm really allowing myself to do is stay grounded. Now in dreams, you're not really grounded. You're kind of in this other realm. So you're in a dream realm where you're almost out of your body in a sort of way. Your soul is out of your body. So your spiritual soul is out of your body. Your body's still in the bed. You can still probably feel the bed, right? Because your physical body is there. But your soul has come out of that bed. And it's in that dream realm. Why are all these dreams different? Why are they not the same dream playing over and over again? Well, let's get into it. So let's get into pirates first. Okay, so I'm having a dreams about pirates, and we're on a ship. We're looking for gold. One of the pirates is wearing a red jacket. There is a parrot involved. Hold on one second. Whoop! So we're gonna get this book out, okay? To look up the meaning of parrots here in a second. And we found the gold. Alright, so we know that pirates, and I'm not read through this part and I just kept looking at it and I kept allowing it. So I was allowing it to flow from my third eye through my throat chakra because I was talking it out loud and I was connecting to my heart chakra at the same time. Whenever I'm doing a reading, I'm connecting my third eye to my heart chakra so my readings are true. I do the same thing in a dream interpretation. Alright, so now we're going to go into the wedding one, right? Now, if you are sitting here, you're probably thinking like, oh my god, she's getting married, or maybe this is telling her that she's going to get married or something like that. And in fact, I thought that at first, so I got all sorts of freaked out. And I woke up and I was like, meh. I'm not even in a relationship. But, or maybe I was like wanting to be in a relationship or something was going along that way. But as I looked at it more and I was writing this down and I was like, wait, nobody was at the end of the aisle. Nobody was even in the church. Nobody was even there. Weird. Okay, so there's a wedding. Weddings are important. See the the shaking cracks me up. I really hope that nobody's watching this like on their phone. Hashtag living in a camperlet. I love it though because it keeps things interesting. All right. So back to the wedding. So we know that weddings represent a union, right? It's coming together. It's a connection. It's a relationship. Deciding to be one. You're no longer going to be apart. Now you're going to be one. But I make it halfway down the aisle and then I turn around and run. But nobody's there. Nobody's at the end of the aisle. Nobody's sitting anywhere. Okay. Well, I'm a single parent, so let's put that into perspective for one. Where am I not taking care of myself in my relationship with myself, right? How am I letting myself down? How am I walking down that aisle, making it halfway and not committing to myself? We know that when you commit to yourself, you're living your true path. You're living your dream. You're going for your things. This is all stuff that is super freaking scary, yes. But if you're living your truth, then everything flows as well. You might have some things that like kind of have to work itself out. That's fine. But at the same time, you know that you're living your abundant timeline. You're on your right timeline. We've talked about timelines in the last video, so here we are again with that timeline. We're on our highest timeline. Nobody was there because at times, and I'm sure if you're a single parent, you could probably attest to this, there have been times where I felt completely alone, especially in parenting my child. Did I choose to be a single parent? Hell yes, I did. However, does that mean that I deserve to be punished and have to do it completely on my own? No. But I have punished myself at times, and I have chosen to do it completely on my own and turned down help that was standing right there because I was too strong-headed and too stubborn, right? Because maybe it's the Aquarius. I don't know. But the Aquarius and the Virgo sometimes fight with each other. Why did I only make it halfway down? That came out again. Why did I only make it halfway down? Because I got afraid. I got afraid that if I didn't go for my dreams, I was going to become my mom. There it is. I was working through an ancestral thing in my dream. So not only are we working towards that relationship with ourselves, but we're learning how to let go of an ancestral pattern. My entire life, I was told how my mom was signed up for classes, she was getting ready to go to college, and then she found out she was pregnant with me and she couldn't do it. However, I had my daughter. I was going to school as a kindergarten teacher, or I was working as a kindergarten teacher, and I was finishing my bachelor's degree. All by myself, right? Yes, we have help here and there, but most of the time it's just me and my daughter. It's just us two. So there I was working on healing a huge ancestral pattern where we blame our children for everything that goes wrong in our life, instead of using our children as an excuse to go after our dreams, to be a better person, right? Whoa. I can tell you that this dream I stopped having 2 nights ago. So I haven't seen this dream again. I don't feel like there was a huge, like, it's gonna come back. Maybe I'll have it one more time, but for the most part, I feel like this dream has ran its course because I ran. Why did I run? Why didn't I go down to the bottom? Why didn't I make it to the end of that aisle while I ran? And that is symbolizing all the things that I have run from and not run to because I've gotten scared, or I've allowed my ego to stand in the way, or I've allowed fear, which is your ego in its most selfish form, to stand in the way, right? So we did some major ancestral healing in that dream. We worked on some stuff. And we learned a little bit more about our relationships with ourselves and going after our dreams. So now we have the dream of where I'm a twin. I've always said I'm a twin, right? I don't know. We're both kidnapped, though. But I get away and my twin does not. So that means I left a piece of myself behind. I left a piece of myself behind, but I got away. But I keep trying to go back and get my twin in my dreams. So I keep trying to go back, I keep trying to get my twin, and I'm wearing a white dress. So that's telling me this has to do with spirituality. When we become parents, we leave a piece of our old self behind. And this is something that, again, like I said at the beginning of the video, I'm working on that identity, letting things go, letting that identity go as I step into my newest identity, as I become a version of myself, like as I become a new version of myself. So I struggled a lot with letting my old self go. I loved the South Carolina Bree. I loved the working at the Raven. I loved all my friends, still love all my friends, but I had a hard time letting that stuff go. I had a hard time moving past the fact that I chose to move. Yes, I chose to listen to somebody that ended up not being a good person, but I chose to move. I made that choice to sell my house, and I made that choice to move to Arizona and live in a camper, which is absolutely beautiful and wonderful, and we're just gonna move you like that. There we go. Nothing scares me more. Anyways, I made that choice, right? But I had a hard time letting go of that version of me before I became a mom. I love being a mom. I love my daughter to pieces. I absolutely love it. And I know that I can create a very beautiful life for us, and I have created a very beautiful life for us, not just in redoing this entire camper and making it a home, but also in creating a community for her, surrounding her with love, surrounding us with love, and also working on my dreams and my goals as well. So she can see that she should never stop going for the things that she wants, but instead to keep going. Go, 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 because you can achieve so much if you keep going for your dreams. So, however, like I said, I had a hard time letting go of that version of me. I just couldn't let her go, and I mourned myself over and over and over again until I literally couldn't mourn anymore, until my guys were like, okay, well, we're gonna get done with this. So my twin is that version of me that I left behind in South Carolina before I became a mom. That twin is a version of me before I became a mom that I needed to say goodbye to officially. Like I said, we're working on that identity. And so in this dream, I am healing that. I am letting that go. And I'm working through healing and being okay with the fact that life changes. Right? things are constantly changing, we become a new version of ourselves every so often. You know, somebody could become somebody new multiple times in a lifetime. You don't always have to be the same person. And while I loved that Brie, and she was one of my favorite versions of me, she really and truly was, there had to come a point in my life where I had to let it go. And I had this feeling of being left behind, of not being wanted, of, you know, people not wanting to include me in stuff anymore, because I was very much included in a lot of things. And I wasn't being included in things anymore. Having to mourn the fact that maybe somebody didn't want me in their life anymore, and they didn't want me to be their friend. And you know what? We just have to let that go, right? You can't force people, right, to stay in your life. And also regret. I had to work through the regret of moving, of not treating somebody the way that, you know, they deserve to be treated. Because I believed what somebody else was saying. And while I was fully pregnant, and we fully can blame hormones for that one, I also had to come to an understanding that maybe this person had completely moved on and they just didn't want me in their life anymore, and I had to be okay with that, right? Or maybe our paths will cross again one day, and you never know. But if it doesn't, it doesn't, and you have to learn to be okay with that. So that twin that I keep trying to go back for has to stay behind, right? We can't go back for that twin. We've left that part of us behind. I always talk about moving on. I always talk about letting things go. So here you can see I'm human, right? We go through things also. Sometimes I put myself through the hardest lessons, and my guides are never easy on me. Oh my God. Every single person that has ever done a reading with me and been like, oh my gosh, why are your guides so hard on you? They don't sugarcoat it. I was like, no, they never have. But so we've worked through these things. These are all tied together. Do you see now how a dream about pirates, a wedding, and a twin being kidnapped are all kind of tied together in a way because we were working through something. So these things have been worked through, healed on some form. Our root chakra, our crown chakra, spirituality. We have been working on this and healing this as we dream. That's why dreams are very important. Yes, you will go through times in your life where you will not dream. Sometimes your dreams are shut off for a reason. It's not always told, but sometimes it's just because you might be going through a lot, and your guides are like, let's turn her dreams off for a minute because gotta give this person a chance, right? Alright, so we've talked about interpreting our dreams. Now, how do you lucid dream? Well, you start by writing it down. The very first thing you do when you wake up in the morning is you can see I have journals on the back. So see, my journals are just this. But so the very first thing you're going to do is you're going to write down the things that you can remember from your dream. You may not remember much. It might just be a couple things like a pirate, a red jacket, a parrot, and that's it. But the more you keep writing things down, the more it's going to become a story. So eventually, your paper will be more of a story than just words like here. This works for me because this is how I do readings. So this is how I interpret things, is by bits and pieces written down, because this is how I've learned to speak to spirit, right? You might need more details, and that's completely fine, especially when you first start lucid dreaming and interpreting your own dreams. When you're going to bed, what I like to do when I want to lucid dream is I will set the intention that I am lucid dreaming tonight. So I will set the intention that I will remember my dreams when I wake up. I will be fully present in my dreams. And I will allow myself to remember the important pieces of my dream that I need to know to help myself interpret those dreams as well. Setting those intentions are going to help you stay within that dream state. Here's another thing. Eliminate all distractions. If you can, put your phone in a different room when you're sleeping. I like to sleep with music, so for me, I do have my phone playing all night long because I listen to like a sleep music kind of playlist that I've created. Probably not healthy for my phone also, but you know, whatever. But my phone is on Do Not Disturb. From 8 p.m. till 8 a.m. my phone is on Do Not Disturb. The longest you can go without having to look at your phone, the more you're going to allow your brain to kind of expand more, and that subconscious mind to really pull those memories forward for you as well. So putting your phone to bed, eliminating distractions, so no TV, maybe meditate before you go to bed, setting your intentions, make sure you have your pen and your notebook right next to you, so the first thing you do when you wake up is you write it down. The more you do that, the more you're going to remember your dreams, and you're going to realize that you're lucid dreaming at nighttime, and it's just going to become a thing where you just do it. I don't even set the intention anymore. I just know that I'm going to do it. I know that I'm going to remember my dream when I wake up in the morning. I know that I'm going to be lucid dreaming. Now, I used to hop between the realms when I dream, so I used to astro project until I had my daughter, and then I put a stop to that. I actually fully said no. I tethered myself to my own body, so that I would not do that anymore, because I felt like I need to be fully here with a toddler, especially because if she wakes up and she has a hard time getting mommy's attention, or I'm off doing something and then I get pulled back, it's really hard to pull that energy back and sometimes focus fast. So while my daughter is young, I've put a stop to that. I'm like, I'm not going to do that right now, especially as a single parent. If there was somebody else in the house, then maybe, but right now we're just not going to do that, right? Because there were times when I would be gone for the entire night, off in another realm, helping, healing, working, helping people work through things, that kind of stuff, using my gifts to help other realms. You can astro project, and you're simply going to set that attention again, that you're going to astro project, that you are open and willing to go to another realm to help them with healing work and astro project, but you also want to do it safely. So I always imagine a cord keeping me tied some way, either to my toe or whatever, so that I can come back. I also have a way of a signal that would bring me back. So sometimes my alarm would make this bell kind of sound, and that was my signal to come back to my body. You just want to create something for yourself where you are always protected. So always making sure you are fully protected. I sleep with black tourmaline and shungite in my room, as well as selenite. So those are surrounding me, and that helps you to stay protected while you're sleeping. I like to put the shungite underneath my bed though, just because it helps with anything that might be under there. Energies get stuck under your bed. My daughter's room, she has shungite under her bed, because things can get stuck under there. What am I thinking? So making sure you're protected, making sure you're tethered to your body in some way or another, so that you can pull yourself back, and you will always see that light. So I make it a golden line, so I can see a golden line and I can pull myself back. I know when I need to come back. The more you do that, the more that you, again, are going to know how to come back. You're going to know how to bring yourself back. It just becomes easier the more you practice, right? Practice, practice, practice makes it easier, easier, easier. Are those words? Or are we just making stuff up at this point? Anywho, now let's talk about nightmares. So nightmares. Why are nightmares so important? Our nightmares, while they scare us, are really and truly us healing something. We finally worked through something and it snapped. So either a cord broke, something was pulled from us that no longer serves us. We jumped a timeline to a better timeline. It's like a sudden thing though. It's not very, your dreams are very, casual, gradually healing on something, working through it, knowing that you need time. Whereas a nightmare, they're like, oh, she needs to get through this now. And so you'll feel it, and that's why it scares you. So a nightmare might be a clown, it might be something jumping out to scare you, it might be you being kidnapped and you're like, oh, right? But it's that cord is breaking and all of a sudden things are changing for you. Or you might be going in a different direction, or something was pulled from you and it was your guides might have pulled something from you that needed to be pulled. So nightmares, while yes, scary, they're also very important. So don't always downplay your nightmares, right? If you wake up in sweating and very much afraid of the dark all of a sudden, appreciate that. Why are you afraid of the dark, right? Why are you all of a sudden afraid of the dark? Is it because in the darkness we cannot see? So we can't see things, and when we can't see things, we tend to get afraid of stuff. Is that what's going on? Right? So allow yourself to go down that tangent of, why am I afraid of the dark all of a sudden? Why am I sweating all over? What happened? There's a very common dream, and it's where you're falling off of a cliff. And when you fall off that cliff, you're essentially jumping into a new timeline, or you're taking a jump, or you're taking a leap of faith, or your guides are telling you to take a leap of faith. You have to look at the way that you're jumping off of a cliff. And 9 times out of 10, I have not met a single person that has ever jumped and been woken up from that fall, right? They're like, what the heck? I don't think I've ever met anybody that something like that most people wake up. No, I don't think. I don't know. I've not met somebody yet that they weren't woken up from that fall. It could be the universe pushing you, saying it's time to change. Let's push you off this cliff so that you are moving forward, so you're not just staying in the same place. So it might be your meaning. It also might be that you yourself, your subconscious mind, has decided to take that leap of faith, and so it's pushing you off the cliff as well. It might be that you're going through something and you're about to go through a huge healing, and your guides are like, yes, it's time that they do this, and they just push you off the cliff, right? It's kind of like the Fool in tarot, right? The Fool in tarot, he's going to jump off the cliff, right? You're going to do the same thing. So those dreams are always a wonderful new start, new direction, being pushed off the cliff, needing to be pushed off the cliff, needing to change directions. When you wake up from something like that, think about what you were thinking about. What was going through your mind before you were pushed off that cliff, and then it will help you interpret which one it is. There's lots of people that interpret it differently, so it's up to you, right? It's up to how you're going to interpret it through your third eye. How is it going to interpret for you? It's not going to be the same for everybody, okay? I don't know what that was. Anywhoosies. So we've worked on our dreams. We've talked about how you guys went into dreams with me. I really opened myself up for you guys, really and truly. So we worked on 3 of my dreams that have been coming up. So sometimes you're going to have these 3 dreams that are multiple dreams, and they tie together, and that's really beautiful, not gonna lie. So allow yourself to have those multiple dreams, or maybe you just keep having the same reoccurring dream. For the longest time, my dream was me, I was I had to go back to high school because I didn't get my diploma, and that was one of the weirdest ones for me because it kept happening over and over and over and over again, and I haven't had it in a very long time, but it was kind of like me. It had to do with my bachelor's degree. So, and now that I've finished my bachelor's, I haven't had that dream, so, which has been kind of nice, because it sucked having to go back to that high school. I didn't like high school. I was not popular, kind of friendless. I had a couple friends, but I'm kind of a loner, so, right? But anywho, so now you have the tools to start working on your dreams. Now you have the tools to begin to work on your dreams. Get yourself a nice little notebook. Again, just like I said in the last video, your journals, like this, was a cheapo journal from the Wally Mart, right? So it's not anything huge. It's just something that I can write in. I journal on it. So, you know, and then start writing it down the way that it makes sense to you, right? Write down the key words, the key things that are sticking out to you, especially if you have colors, if you sense something, maybe you smell something, maybe something really good, a flower, whatever, okay? So start looking at that, start writing it down, start setting your intentions, and most of all, just have fun. Don't take it seriously. If you don't get it on the first few tries, if it takes you a couple weeks to figure it out, that's fine. You're learning how to do it with your intuition. Remember, no two intuitions are going to be the same. No two people can do the same reading. You might pick up some of the same stuff. Some things might be similar, but your reading is going to be different than my reading, right? So that means that the way that you are going to interpret your dreams are going to be different than me. So start with this and then work it the way that it works for you, okay? Because our dreams are perfect ways for you to heal, but it's also lovely when you know what you worked on or what you need to work on. So I picked up some things that I need to work on even in the waking life as well that will help me in healing in my sleep as well. So I've picked up some things that I need to work on, and that will help you pick up things that you need to work on as well. So thank you guys so much. I hope that you enjoyed this little episode on dream interpretations. I loved it. It was my very first time doing it. It felt like I was very much opening up for you guys, so I was very vulnerable in this moment, and I loved it because I love that you guys get to see the human of me also, so you know that you're not alone. You're not alone. It's okay. And with that said, I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye, guys.